We are live now, sir. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste to all. Prostrating at the lotus feet of Brahmanishta Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati and the entire Guru Parampara on behalf of all of us. Today's discourse on the Viveka Chudamani will continue. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Sadashivasamarambham Shri Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashta Krudau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah सर्ववेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरम तमगोचरम गोविंदम परमानंदम सद्गुरुं प्रणतोस्म्यहम् ओम नमो भगवते विराजेश्वराय हरि ओम. Last time the shloka number, verse number, a fairly long one, 343 was completed. From 344 verse number onwards, today's discourse will continue. Repeatedly, now and then, it is being making it very clear that the discourse is mainly based on the explanation or the bhashya given by Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal on the Viveka Chudamani by Acharya Shankara Bhagavatpada. In the preceding set of shlokas imparting the highest knowledge about the absolute principle itself, which again is difficult to explain in words, that which is beyond the words, beyond the buddhi and beyond the mind, beyond the perceptible sense organs, which cannot be understood by the mind. Now Acharya is trying to explain in detail about this principle itself. Atmanishtha Vidhana is talking about that. How to develop Atmanishtha, how to get focused and abide in that highest state of being. So that is actually in Vedanta called as Samyak Viveka or Samyak Jnana. Samyak Jnana or Samyak Viveka. Understanding the reality itself. Understanding the true nature of myself, what I am actually, and negating all other things superimposed on this self itself by pramada. It's a false identification. Samyak Viveka स्फुटबोधजन्यो विभज्यमर्थतत्त्वं छिनत्ति मायाकृतमोहबन्धं यस्मात् विमुक्तस्य पुनर्न संसृतिः. सम्यक् विवेकः स्फुटबोधजन्यो विभज्य दृग्दृश्यपदार्थतत्त्वं छिनत्ति मायाकृतमोहबन्धं यस्मात् विमुक्तस्य पुनर्न संसृतिः. The key words in this shloka, Acharya explaining to his disciple, Yasmat Vimuktasya Punarna Samsrutihi. Vimuktasya Punarna Samsrutihi. Keywords. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಸೂಚನೆ, ಉಪದೇಶ, ಅರ್ಹ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸು ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹವನು ಗುರುಪದೇಶದಿಂದ ಆವೃತನಾಗಿ ಸಾಧನೆಯನ್ನ ನಿಷ್ಠೆ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಉತ್ತಮೋತ್ತಮ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸು ಆರ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಮುಕ್ತನಾದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಮುಕ್ತನಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ? ನಿಜವಾದ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ದರ್ಶನದಿಂದ, ಆತ್ಮಬೋಧದಿಂದ, ನಿಜಬೋಧದಿಂದ, ತನ್ನ ಸ್ವಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ಅರಿತುಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತ ಜೀವನ್ಮುಕ್ತ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸುವಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಂಸಾರ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪುನಃ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ? ಆತನಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಸಂಸಾರವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದೇ ಕೊನೆಯ ಜನ್ಮ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮವಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. So the Acharya is very clearly mentioning here, Samyak Viveka Sputavoda Janya Vibhajya Drusya Padartha Tattvam Chinatti Maya Kruta Moha Bandham Maya Kruta Moha Bandham Chinatti. Which one? Samyak Viveka Sputavoda Janya Drusya Padartha Tattvam Vibhajya Maya Kruta Moha Bandham Chinatti. Chinatti means it cuts away. It totally cuts asunder. ಕತ್ತರಿಸುವುದು ಚಿನತ್ತಿ. ಮಾಯಾಕೃತ ಮೋಹ ಬಂಧನವನ್ನೇ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಿ ಹಾಕಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವುದು? ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ವಿವೇಕ ಸ್ಫುಟಬೋಧ ಜನ್ಯ. ಸರಿಯಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಉತ್ತಮ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ನಿಖರವಾಗಿ ಸ್ಫುಟವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ಜ್ಞಾನದಿಂದ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ವಿವೇಕ, ಈ ದೃಕ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ದೃಕ್ ಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆತ್ಮ, ಮತ್ತು ದೃಶ್ಯ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ, ಈ ತತ್ವಗಳನ್ನ, ದೃಕ್ ಮತ್ತು ದೃಶ್ಯ, ಈ ಎರಡೂ ತತ್ವಗಳನ್ನ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿವೇಚನೆಯಿಂದ ವಿಂಗಡಿಸಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಆ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಉದಯಿಸಿದರೆ ಮಾಯಾಕೃತವಾಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಮೋಹಬಂಧನ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಮೋಹಬಂಧನ ಹೋದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂತಹ ಆ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸುವಿಗೆ, ಅಂತಹ ಮುಕ್ತನಾದವನಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಬೈ perfect discrimination, Viveka, perfect discrimination is a result of understanding of separating clearly the seen and the seer. So the perfect discrimination means understanding the perception of the seer and the seen. Seer means the one who sees the world. Druk. Seen means the world which is being experienced, the world which is being perceived by our five senses. What we see, what we hear, etc. So the object here is a world. Drushya, that is a prapancha. And the person who is perceiving is the seer. He is the druk. By the perfect discrimination and understanding the nature of seer and seen, vibhajya druk drushya padartha tattvam, then the so-called the bondage of delusion created by the Maya, that is totally cut. Chinatti Maya Kruta Mohabandham. So once the discrimination sets in very clearly about the seer and the seen. So the seer is the reality, the seen is only transitory. Jnana. It is unreal. That world what we are perceiving is unreal in the real sense. It is only fleeting, momentary, transitory. It won't stay permanently as it is. It has its own birth, it has its own death. So that which is born has to go one day. So that is why it is transitory. It is not real, it is unreal. Which one? The world itself being perceived. ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಇವತ್ತಲ್ಲ ನಾಳೆ ಹೊರಟು ಹೋಗೋದಾದ್ರಿಂದ ಈಗ ತೋರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲಘಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇದು ಮಿಥ್ಯಾ. ಈ ಉದಯ, ಈ ಜ್ಞಾನದ ವಿವೇಕದ ಉದಯ ಆದಾಗ ಈ ಮೋಹಬಂಧನ ತಾನಾಗೆ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಲ್ಪಡುತ್ತದೆ, ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಅಂತಹ ಮೋಹಬಂಧನ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಮೋಹಬಂಧನದಿಂದ ಮುಕ್ತನಾದಂತಹ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸು ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಆತನಿಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ delusion created by the liberation occurs, mukti occurs. And once the person is liberated from this delusion of Maya, what happens? No more there is samsara for him. He will not return back. There is no more rebirth. No more rebirth. So while living in this body, now here itself he is liberated. He is liberated from samsara. So that is a point here. Acharya is again hammering the same point in different verses. Yasmat vimuktasya punarna samsrutihi. We have to remember these key phrases. Punarna samsrutihi. No more rebirth for a liberated soul. So Samyak Viveka Sputavodajanya. So what does actually Mahaswami Mahaswami makes it very clear about this here. So that means the scriptures, the Upanishad Mahavakyas and the Aptavakyas by the Sadguru. So the scriptures, the holy scriptures, the Shastravakya, and those imparted by the Sadguru and the grace of the Sadguru. Only by the grace of the Guru and the scriptures, Vedantic scriptures, Samyak Viveka will arise. By the insightful, direct perception of the Upanishad Mahavakyas, that will arise by the grace of Shruti itself, by the grace of Sadguru itself, by the prasada. So last time, please remember, there was a point where it was said very clearly, at one point, Sri Sureshwarachari, the first pontiff for the Jagat Guru of the Sringeri Sharada Peetham, Dakshinamnaya Sharada Peetham, Sringeri, he mentions very clearly at one point that Shrutyacharya prasadena yogabhyasa vashena cha Ishvaranugrahena swatma bodho yatha bhavet. So by the grace of Shruti, by the grace of the Upanishads or Upanishad Mahavakyas and Shrutyacharya, and by the grace of the Sadguru who imparts that knowledge directly, face to face to the disciple. So by the grace of the Acharya, Sadguru, and also by Ishvara Anugrahena, by the grace of Lord, Swatma Bhodo Yatha Bhavet, Samyak Jnana will arise. So that Nija will arise, and the mumukshu, jijnasu will ultimately know his own reality, his own self. So that leads to his liberation. Next. Paravaraikatva vivekavahni dahatya vidya gahanam yashesham किं स्यात् पुनः संसरणस्य बीजम् अद्वैतभावं समुपेयुषोऽस्य समुपेयुषः अस्य परावरैकत्वविवेकवह्नीदहत्य विद्यागहनं ह्यशेषं किं स्यात् पुनः संसरणस्य बीजम् अद्वैतभावं समुपेयुषोऽस्य. With a very common example, a sort of an analogy or a simile, Acharya is explaining, just like a wildfire, especially in the summer season in the forest area. When a wildfire starts itself, now it goes on expanding and expanding and expanding with the aid of the wind, the blowing wind, and the entire forest area is covered by the wildfire, and the acres and acres of land of forest now get destroyed in no time because of the wildfire. The entire forest can be destroyed. It will burn away itself. That is the force of the fire, wildfire. So that example, Acharya says, Avidyaganam ashesham. Avidyaganam ashesham. Ashesham avidyaganam dahati. Paravaraikatva viveka vahni. Ahani means Agni. So just like Yavariti, ಈ ವಿವೇಕ ಜ್ಞಾನ, ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಅನ್ನುವ ವಿವೇಕ, ಈ ವಿವೇಕ ಅನ್ನುವ ಅಗ್ನಿ, ಖಡ್ಗಿಚ್ಚು, ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ ಎಂಬತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಅರಣ್ಯವನ್ನೇ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ನಾಶ ಮಾಡುತ್ತದೆಯೋ ಅನ್ನೋ ಅರ್ಥ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪರಾವರ ಏಕತ್ವ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಬೇರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸದ್ವಸ್ತು ಬೇರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಯಂ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪನೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಬೇರೆಯಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪ ಬೇರೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಪರಾವರ ಪರತತ್ವ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮತತ್ವ ಬೇರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಏಕತ್ವ ಭಾವ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮ ಏಕತ್ವ ಭಾವ. ಪರಾವರ ಏಕತ್ವ ವಿವೇಕ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ Brahma Atma Ekatva Bhava. No difference between the absolute Parabrahma Tattva, Brahma Padartha, Ishvara as commonly denoted, God as commonly denoted. So there is absolutely no difference between that Paravara, that Brahma Padartha and Atma Padartha. Both the self, the Atma, Pratyagatma inside the body, and the Paravara Tattva outside, completely spread over as the substratum, Moola Sanatana Avyakta. There is no difference between the two. Both are one and the same. So the Brahma Padartha and Atma are one and the same. Brahma Atma Ekatva Bhava. So when that is generated, that becomes the first-hand experience. When that is perceived very clearly, so that knowledge of direct perception of Atma and Brahma being one and the same. So that knowledge of the perception, like a fire, burns away the forest of avidya, ajnana, ignorance, once for all. Burns away the forest of avidya. Totally burns away the forest of avidya. So the fire of knowledge of oneness with the Absolute, the fire of knowledge of oneness with the Absolute burns away the avidya itself, ajnana itself, that I am different, he is different, God is different, I am different. So such all dualistic mithya jnana is totally burnt out. Kim syat punah samsaranasya bijam advaita bhavam samupeyusho asya. Samupeyushaha asya. So when that is the case, ಈ ಅಜ್ಞಾನ ಅವಿದ್ಯೆ ನಾಶವಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಆತ್ಮ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮ ಪರತತ್ವ ಒಂದೇ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಅದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಅದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವ ಸರಿಯಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಸಿದರೆ ಅಂತಹವನು ಆ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆತನಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಬಂತು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ತಾನಾಗಿಯೇ ಬಂತು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಭಗವತ್ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ, ಈಶ್ವರ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ, ಸದ್ಗುರು ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ, ಶ್ರುತಿಯ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ. ಅಂತಹ ಜ್ಞಾನಿ, ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಂಸಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ? ಕಿಂ ಸ್ಯಾತ್ ಪುನಃ ಸಂಸರಣಸ್ಯ ಬೀಜಂ ಅದ್ವೈತ ಭಾವಂ ಸಮುಪೇಯುಷಃ ಅಸ್ಯ ಸಮುಪೇಯುಷಃ ಅಸ್ಯ ಕಿಂ ಸ್ಯಾತ್ ಪುನಃ ಸಂಸರಣಸ್ಯ ಬೀಜಂ. Now once he becomes realized, so that Atmajnani, Brahmajnani, why he will come back to samsara? Where is the reason for him to return? Where is the reason to take again birth? Once he is already realized, so he has become already a mukta. He has become a jivan mukta while living in this life itself. While living still in the body, he has liberated himself. So once he is liberated, he will not come back. He will not return back to samsara. See, that is the main point here. Acharya is making very clear. Now, what do we have to remember here? Throughout Viveka Chudamani, Acharya Bhagavad-pada, here and there in different verses, he is stressing this point very repeatedly, very clearly, that there is no necessity for a jnani, a realized person, a liberated soul, to return back to samsara. To return back to samsara. See, for example, earlier, just now, earlier he said, Yasmat vimuktasya, in the earlier verse. Yasmat vimuktasya punarna samsrutihi. So a person who is liberated will not come back to samsara. No more bondage. He will not return back to samsara. And again now he says, next, Kim syat punaha samsaranasya bijam advaita bhavam samupeyushya. So a person who has realized himself, how can he come back to samsara? So for a jnani, in other words, there is no return back to samsara. That means ultimately what? Repeatedly, Acharya is stressing this point in Viveka Chudamani, which is there as a central dogma of our core Vedantic principle. It's Advaita ವೇದಾಂತದ ತಳಹದಿಯೇ ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮ ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ಮ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಂಸಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಮರಳುವುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮರಣಾನಂತರ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮರು ಹುಟ್ಟು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಚಕ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಇರೋದು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದವನು ಅಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದವನು ಅವಿದ್ಯಾ ಬಲದಿಂದ ತನ್ನ ಮೂಲ ಅಜ್ಞಾನದ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ, ಆ ಮೂಲ ಪ್ರಮಾದದಿಂದ ಪುನಃಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಸಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪುನಃ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಸಾವು, ಹುಟ್ಟು ಮರಣ, ಪುನರ್ಜನ್ಮ ಇವು ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯಾದವನಿಗೆ ಇದೇ ಈ ಚಕ್ರದಿಂದ. So the bondage means samsara. Liberation means escaping the bondage, escaping the samsara. So samsara means what? Again birth, death, and again rebirth. So the cycle of death and rebirth, death and rebirth, death and rebirth is continuously going on and on and on. So we are all caught up in this cycle of birth. That's elsewhere, Acharya has made it very clear in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, the most simplified way, the simplest way he defines there that actually samsara is nothing. The core point, samsara, shoka, moha is equal to samsara. We can, simplify that, codify it in single equation for our benefit to know like that. Samsara means shoka and moha. What is the shoka and moha? Shoka means suffering, grief. All the time when things go wrong, against expectations, against your mental projections, and when unexpected, unhappy things happen, always the grief, the suffering sets in the mind in everyone's life. See, the suffering is always there, whether a person is a super rich or whether ordinary middle class or a lower middle class or even the poorest of the poor class. So whether he is poorer or richer, the suffering always is there till the death, because the mind is geared up with all thoughts. Mind is always against the bad things happening, expecting only good things, and good things will never happen. In the long run of the lifespan of any individual, the fleeting moments of happiness are very rare, whereas the major chunk of the life is nothing but suffering, craving for happiness, expecting pleasure, but suffering is always there in one way or the other in the personal life of any individual without fail. So till the last breath, all these sufferings will be carried in the form of thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, generated upon one thought after another thought, and the whole mind becomes totally caught up in this maya of samsara. So that results in happiness. That results in rest. That ಶೋಕ ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ತಿಳಿದಾಗಿನಿಂದ ಮರಣ ಬರೋ ತನಕ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ನೂರಾರು ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಶೋಕ, ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು, ಸಂಕಟಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾನೇ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸುಖದ ಗಳಿಗೆ, ಸಂತೋಷದ ಗಳಿಗೆಗಳು ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಯಾತನೆ, ತೊಂದರೆ ಇವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ಸಂಕಟ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. So all the time there are unpleasantful things, unwanted things happening in you, things going against your will and things going beyond your control, and you are caught up totally with a depressed mood. How to solve the crisis? So the life is full of crisis. If you solve one crisis, another will sprout immediately. So life ultimately becomes a chain of crisis, chain of thoughts. How to solve one problem with another problem. So the problems and crisis and suffering are the base result of any individual life till the last breath. Till the last breath. Absolutely, without any doubt. That is because this shoka, this suffering, this crisis is because of moha, Acharya. Because of the attachment. Moha, attachment. Attachment means the feeling of aham, I. The ahankar, the ego, the phantom, unreal entity superimposed by pramada, by false identification that I am the body. So that entity called ego, ahankara, equating Atma with the body itself. So that ego plays all the trick in our life, and that ego is me, myself feeling, aham, pratyay. And along with that, the mine feeling also gets tagged on. People, me and my people. So that results in attachment, attachment, attachment. The bondage, they go on, increasing day by day, till the last breath. The bondages will never be cut because we have entangled ourselves in the bondage. We have completely surrounded ourselves with our own mental creations of the called moha, bondage. So samsara means shoka and moha. Why Acharya always here is talking about no return to samsara? You escape from this bondage because it's very, if you go deeper, contemplating on this aspect, it becomes very clear. Even logically, if you think, it becomes very clear. If we take our own lives as an example, who else is a better judge than myself about my own life? Because ins and outs of my life, I know than anybody else. More than anybody else in the family, I know about my life, my feelings, my distractions, sufferings, dejections, everything, what is happening in the mind. And the suffering, the nature of suffering, everything is known. So every individual is an example for his own mental status, which he experiences 24/7 till the last breath, till the death. Now imagine yourself at what stage you are in the life, whether you are a very poor, ordinarily poor, fairly better, middle class, rich class, super rich class, or a billionaire or a millionaire or a celebrity, whatever it is. You are, if you just contemplate coolly, think about personal life. If you have a bird's eye view of the life, so far what has happened in the life, and then the next, our life, we don't know how many years we are going to survive, how it will make you to suffer mentally and physically. As the age progresses, you don't know, you have only a fair idea by looking into others, but no personal experience. So imagine ourselves, if we were 80 plus, still surviving, 9 plus of age still surviving, what happens? If I sit and imagine, if you sit and imagine that you are 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus. Even biologically, medically, it is a well-known fact, the body loses all its tenacity, muscular strength, strength, walking ability, faculty of taste, everything gradually goes down, goes down. They lose their prominence. And ultimately, somehow, you become more mobile, and you are fully mobile in life, walking down, going down, running down, enjoying the life, partying, taking long vacations, driving, flying from one country to one country. We are stuck to the bed. So that is a horrible situation in one common sense. Nobody really wants that, but it happens. It happens. And then one fine day, for the feeling of death. So that is the most horrible feeling. You become alone. Totally. You become a loner. Nobody is there to care for a old person, 90 plus person. Nobody will care, really. They are busy in their life. Your own younger generation, they are busy in their life, and you are on the bed. You are afraid of the death, Abhinivesha, Marana Bhaya, afraid of death. and nobody is there to give you solace or company or comfort. Then what happens? So after that agonizing period, and then maybe ultimately in a hospital bed, we all die every day, suffering and suffering, suffering till the prarabdha ends, the death will occur, maybe in ICU, maybe on a general bed. 99.9% people will die in hospital bed, on the hospital bed, because nobody will look after the old person at home. The moment some small sickness occurs, some medical problem occurs, we are shifted to hospital. Nobody will care. Nobody will look after you. Fortunate are those people who take care of the 80 plus, 90 plus old people at home with all Shraddha, Bhakti and devotion and love. Hardly handful. So we end up suffering mentally, and then we die one day. After that, what? After that, what? Again, there is a Punarjanma, rebirth, according so once again we are born. Very few chakras to be realized. They are referring the Vedanta Darshana. And they believe, they communicate that Charvaka that this birth is our only life. This is our only human precious life. After death,
Sir, you're muted, sir. We cannot hear you. Hari Om.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, no, it's...
So there was some technical glitch. Okay. So I was telling about, with all the suffering a person will die, mostly in ICU bed or in hospital bed, because nobody else in the home ready to take care of the old person. You know, the moment a person becomes old and senile and stuck to the bed means it's gone case. It's only a non-entity, however celebrity he was earlier in his life, however rich he is. So they'll push the responsibility to the hospitals, and out of sheer, as a multinational corporate sector, hospitals, they only think of their money. So nobody gives you solace and comfort and love in the hospital. So the person will die. Horrible death, mentally horrible death. Till the prarabdha is there, he will be suffering a lot in the mind. That happens to every one of us. See, that is ajnana. We don't know that. Barring a few really divine souls who, just like that, have a very beautiful death, like heart attack. Within no time, they will die without being hospitalized. And of course, some unnatural death like accident. All others will suffer and die, suffer. After that, again, there is rebirth. So Charvakas used to say, I'm talking in our country, Charvaka Siddhanta, based on the Virochana Siddhanta, what is the Siddhanta, the principle? That this is the only life. There is no rebirth at all. Who tells you there is a rebirth? It's all bogus. It's all hearsay. There is no proof. Nobody after death has come back and told you that there is rebirth. This is the end. Enjoy. Make merry. This is the present day our scenario also in the entire world. People, majority are now, they believe in this Charvaka Siddhanta. This is the only life. There is no rebirth. So that is one school of thought. But we believe in rebirth. We believe in Punarjan. Indian Vedanta believes in Punarjan. That's why I just very same thing will continue. We are life continues, struggle continues, pursuit for happiness and pleasures will continue. The icha to be more will come together, suffering will, everything repeats in a different setup, in a different body, in a different family, with a different name, with a different status, and with a different spouse, with different set of children, whatever it is, whatever it is. So this drama will continue. See, after rebirth, again, you will follow through all the trivials and troubles and sufferings, what you are seeing now, in varying degrees of proportion in the next birth also. So that is what Acharya is. So if you are caught up in this cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, where is the end? There is no mukti at all. This is bhava bandhana. So you have to come out of the bandhana, out of the bondage means you should realize yourself. No more rebirth. After death, you will not come back to this samsara. That is the main point. That is the main point, Ajay. So why it is important? Why this Samyak Darshana is important? Why this Atma Sakshatkar, striving is important? Now, the next आवरणस्य निवृत्तिः सम्यक् ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನವೇ. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ಪರಮಾರ್ಥ ವಸ್ತು ಆತ್ಮದರ್ಶನ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಹೊಂದುವುದರಿಂದ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಆವರಣ ಶಕ್ತಿ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾದ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ, ಪ್ರಮಾದದಿಂದ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶರೀರ ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಶರೀರ, ನಾನು ಇಂಥವನು ಇಂಥವಳು ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ, ಮತ್ತು ನನ್ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಪ್ರಪಂಚ ಎರಡೂ ಮಿಥ್ಯೆ. ಈ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನವು ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಆವರಣ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಹೋಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ. ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಬಲವಾದಂತಹ ಮುಂದಿನ ವಿಕ್ಷೇಪ ಶಕ್ತಿಯು ತಾನಾಗಿ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಉಂಟಾದ ದುಃಖವು ನಿವೃತ್ತಿಯಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. ಆತ್ಯಂತಿಕವಾಗಿ ದುಃಖ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿ. ಸಂಸಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದುಃಖ ಶೋಕ ಸಾಗರ. ಈ ಶೋಕ ಸಾಗರ ದುಃಖ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿ ವಿಕ್ಷೇಪ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಹೋದ ನಂತರ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆವರಣಸ್ಯ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿರ್ಭವತಿ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ಪದಾರ್ಥ ದರ್ಶನತಃ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ ವಿನಾಶಸ್ತದ್ವತ್ ವಿಕ್ಷೇಪ ಜನಿತ ದುಃಖ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿ. So the Maya has, the Avarana Shakti, the concealing power, and the projecting power, Vikshepa Shakti. It behaves in two ways. Maya works in two ways. The delusion covers in two ways, Avarana and Vikshepa. Is concealing power. Vikshepa is by process, by first-hand knowledge, first-hand experience of Samyak Padartha. Means once the person the mumukshu is realized once he liberate himself. He is that supreme consciousness, supreme awareness himself. He is that Samyak Padartha himself. He is that Brahma Padartha himself. So once the mumukshu realizes that, what happens? The concealing power of Maya automatically is cut. It is destroyed. Avarana Shakti is destroyed. Maya Avarana Shakti is destroyed or removed. And so also the Mithya Jnana, the false identification that I am real, I am the body, this body is real, I am the Sharira is real, Prapancha is real, the world is real. So this is Mithya Jnana, even that goes away, along with Avarana Shakti. So after realization, the Mithya Jnana and the concealing power of the Maya goes away, destroyed. Then what happens? So also the suffering, the grief, the shoka, due to Vikshepa Shakti, even that is destroyed. Tadvat Vikshepa Janita Dukkha Nivrutti. Vikshepa Janita Dukkha Nivrutti. So the dukkha, the suffering, the grief, due to Vikshepa Shakti, the projecting power, the wrong projection that the world is real, I means the body is real. So that vikalpa, the mental fantasy, mental imagination, even that is destroyed. So by that, the atyantika dukkha is destroyed, means the dukkha nivrutti because of vikshepa, even that is destroyed. So here three things are what Acharya is thinking. One is by realization in simple, by Atma Jnana, Atma Sakshatkar, Brahma Sakshatkar, or by realizing the self, by realizing my true identity, who I am, by that first hand realization, first hand experience, by first hand aparoksha anubhuti, direct experience, by aparoksha anubhuti, what happens? The concealing power of Maya, Avarana Shakti, is destroyed, and thereby the false knowledge, Mithya Jnana, that world is real, I am the body. World is real, I am the body. So the duality, even that Mithya Jnana, that is destroyed. Then dukkha nivrutti, due to vikshepa. So the suffering, dukkha, even that is destroyed. The suffering is due to vikshepa shakti. The projecting power of Maya makes us to always be in that shoka, suffering. Always. Things will never happen. We are bound by Maya, and always we imagine chains of thoughts. We are bound by our own chains of thoughts, imagination. So that is vikshepa. So our mind is deluded, bhranti, manobhranti. So that vikshepa resulting in manobhranta sthiti, total imagination till the last moment of birth, death, and that results in dukkha, suffering. So that is destroyed. So please, we have to remember three things of what Acharya is mentioned. One is here, the avarana shakti of Maya, false projection, mithya jnana, false identification, mithya jnana, and dukkha nivrutti, that the grief, destruction of grief, suffering. Next, he continues that. Etat kritayam drushtam samyak रज्जुस्वरूप विज्ञानात् तस्माद् वस्तु सतत्वं ज्ञातव्यं बन्धमुक्तये विदुषा. Very clear. एतत् दृष्टं सम्यक् रज्जुस्वरूप विज्ञानात् तस्माद् वस्तु सतत्वं ज्ञातव्यं बन्धमुक्तये विदुषा. So he is giving an injunction or upadesha here to the disciple. So what he says, etat tritayam dushtam. So tritayam, ಸರ್ಪರಜ್ಜು ನ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದೆಯೇ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳಿರುವ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ವಿವೇಕ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವೇದಾಂತದ ಬಹು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಸಂಗ, ಅದು ಒಂದು ನಿರೂಪಣೆ. ಸರ್ಪರಜ್ಜು ನ್ಯಾಯ, ಆ ಸರ್ಪರಜ್ಜು ನ್ಯಾಯದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಹಗ್ಗದ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರಿತುಕೊಂಡ ಮೇಲೆ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಮೊದಲು ಅದು ಹಾವು ಅಂತ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ನಸು ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ಮಂದವಾದ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ, ನಸುಗತ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ರಸ್ತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೂರದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಹಾವು ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಹೋಗಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅದು ಹಾವಲ್ಲ ಹಗ್ಗ, ಹಾವಲ್ಲ ಹಗ್ಗ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆ ಹಗ್ಗದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಮೂರು ಏತತ್ ಹೃದಯಂ ದೃಷ್ಟಂ ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ರಜ್ಜು ಸ್ವರೂಪ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ, ಸಮ್ಯಕ್ ರಜ್ಜು ಸ್ವರೂಪ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಾತ್ ಏತತ್ ತ್ರಿತಯಂ ದೃಷ್ಟಂ. ಈ ಮೂರಿಗೂ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಸ್ಫುಟವಾಗಿ ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ಮೂರು? ಸರ್ಪರಜ್ಜು ನ್ಯಾಯದಂತೆ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಹಾವಲ್ಲ ಹಗ್ಗ ಅನ್ನುವ ಅನುಭವ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಸಿದ್ಧನಾಗಿ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಈ ಮೂರು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಗೋಚರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ಮೂರು? ಮಾಯೆಯ ಆವರಣ ಶಕ್ತಿ, ಆ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಆತ್ಯಂತಿಕ ದುಃಖ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿ. ಆವರಣ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವತಃ ಹಗ್ಗ ಇದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತು. ಹಗ್ಗದ ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಹಗ್ಗ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ಲಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ ಮೊದಲು ನೋಡಿದ ಕೂಡಲೇ, ಹಾವು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ ಹಗ್ಗದ ಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಹೋಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಆವರಣ ಶಕ್ತಿ, ಮಾಯೆಯ ಪ್ರಭಾವ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದು ಎದುರು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಹಾವು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷಣ, ಅದು ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ. ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಹಾವು ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಹೆದರಿಕೆ ಬಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ನನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಹಾವಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಹಾವಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಯ, ಸಂಕಟ, ಹೆದರಿಕೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಚ್ಚಿ ಬಿಡುತ್ತೋ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಯ, ಆ ಕ್ಷಣ ಮಾತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿರ್ತ ಉದ್ವೇಗ, ಭಯ, ತಳಮಳ, ಸಂಕಟ, ಹೆದರಿಕೆ, ದುಃಖ. ಆ ದುಃಖವು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೊರಟೋಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಸದ್ಯ ಆವಲ್ಲ ಹಗ್ಗ ಅಂತ ಖಾತ್ರಿಯಾದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಖಚಿತವಾದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಬಂದು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅಬ್ಬ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಆವಲ್ಲ ಹಗ್ಗ, ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಬಚಾವಾದೆ, ನನಗೆ ಯಾವ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ದುಃಖ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ಮೂರು ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತದೆ. ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಉಂಟಾದಾಗ ಇದೇ ಪ್ರಕಾರವಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಯಂತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಆವರಣ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮಾಯಾಬಂಧನ ಕತ್ತರಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ ಹೊರಟೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದೇಹ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚ, ಸತ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋ ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಜ್ಞಾನ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ದುಃಖದ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏತತ್ ತ್ರಿತಯಂ ದೃಷ್ಟ ತಸ್ಮಾದ್ ವಸ್ತು ಸತತ್ವಂ ಜ್ಞಾತವ್ಯಂ ಬಂಧಭುಕ್ತಯೇ ವಿದುಷ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷುವಾದವನು, ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸುವಾದವನು ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನು ಅರಿತುಕೊಳ್ಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರವನ್ನು ಪಡೀಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರವನ್ನು ಪಡೀಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಂತಹ ಉತ್ತಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜಿಜ್ಞಾಸು ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ದುಃಖ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿಗಾಗಿ ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ನಿಜ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯನ್ನ, ಯಾಥಾತ್ಮ್ಯವನ್ನು, ವಸ್ತುವಿನ ನಿಜ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಯಾಥಾತ್ಮ್ಯ, ಆ ಯಾಥಾತ್ಮ್ಯವನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದ ತ್ರಿಪುಟಿ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್, the avarana shakti, mithya and dukkha nivrutti will happen. These three are seen by the proper understanding and knowledge of the snake and the rope relationship. Earlier, remember Acharya had given that example, famous Vedantic example. So when when suddenly the rope is there, a cut rope is there on the roadside, we imagine that it is to be a snake. The moment we think that, oh, there is a snake, it is there in front of me on the road. So I am seeing the snake there. Number one, I am seeing the snake. And because of that, there is fear, psychosis in my heart. Adrenaline is pumped up. I'm afraid. All reflex action. My body becomes erect. Oh, yo. So there is a snake. Why? Because it may bite me. It may be poisonous. The snake, synonym with poison. The moment I see a snake, he's going to bite me and I'm going to die. See that fear psychosis sets in. That's it. Because of that suffering, mental suffering. Then only after close examination, when I find that it is not a snake, it is only a cut rope, because of the dim light, it appeared like a snake. Sarparajjudnyaya. Rajju means rope, sarpa means snake. Sarparajjudnyaya. So once I identify with a closer examination, then what happens? Then I'll immediately feel very happy. The tension is released. That fear, psychosis, which had welled up in the mind, goes away. Then I realize that it is only a rope, not a snake. So what happens by this? So the avarana Shakti of Maya, the concealing power of Maya is gone. The rope was concealed. Only the snake appeared in my mental projection first, the moment I saw it. So that is avarana Shakti, concealing the true nature. The rope never appeared as a rope to me. In the beginning, it appeared like a snake. So the appearance of a snake is the Maya avarana Shakti. Concealing. Out of that, fear developed. So that is dukkha. Then closer examination, what happened? No, I felt that it is not a snake, it is a rope only. So mind became quiet. So that crisis is averted. Mental tension gone. That fear, psychosis gone. So the three. So by looking at this example, the etat kritayam drushtam samyak rajjuswarupa vijnana. So by this example of sarparajju nyaya, this metaphor or the idiom or the simile, the phrase, Acharya says, by examining this sarparajju nyaya, all the three are lost. What are the three? Avarana Shakti, concealment, Maya, concealing power of Maya, Mithyajnana, false identification. What is the Mithyajnana here? The rope, snake, Mithyajnana. And out of that, fear, tension, BP raised, thinking that the snake will bite. So the fear psychosis and related psychosomatic developments in the body and the mind. So that went away. So that is removal of suffering or crisis. Dukkha nivrutti. So this imagination is Vikshepa Shakti. Vikshepa Shakti of Maya makes you to imagine so many things, one by one. Oh, there is a rope. Rope will bite me. Then the poison will enter. Then I will die. I have to go to the hospital. There is nobody. What to do? See, all such chains of thoughts lead to worry and tension in my own mind. That is due to Vikshepa of Maya. So the Tritayam Acharya means here is the three folded activities happening in the mind. So by the proper knowledge of the rope, in the rope snake example, these three are destroyed. The Avarana Shakti of Maya, the Mithyajnana, and the Dukkha Nivrutti, all the three will happen. So that is why the Jijnasu or the Mumukshu, Uttam Adhikari, should perceive correctly the truth or the Sadvastu or Brahma Padartha, the absolute or Samyak Padartha or Pratyekatma, so that he will be released from the bondage. Tasmat Vastu Sakatvam Jnatavyam Bandhamuktaye Vidusha. Vidusha, the qualified disciple, Uttamadhikari, that is why. So, in order to be liberated from the life, means no more rebirth. Vidusha, here, the highest qualified disciple, earnestly try. Tasma, he must earnestly try, continue his path in the spiritual sadhana to understand and decipher by direct first-hand experience the Atma Sakshatkar. He has to strive. Initial efforts have to be there. Tasmat vastu satatvam jnatavyam. So by the proper understanding, the mumukshu should perceive correctly the truth, sadvastu, so that he will be released from the bondage, bandhamuktaye, in order to be released from the cycle of birth and death. To see that there is no more rebirth. So this birth is the last birth. This will be the last birth. And he will not enact the same drama in the next birth after taking another birth. So these are the things Acharya is hinting regularly, repeatedly, hammering into our mind. How far we can follow this is left to our own understanding, our own spiritual development or spiritual sadhana, and the Sadguru's grace, actually. So with this, by Guru Sankalpa, today's discourse we are stopping at verse number 347 of Viveka Chudamani. Hari Om. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. 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 Hari Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Viraj.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the beautiful discourse, as always. And Acharya is unveiling the secrets behind not having rebirth, finally. Thank you, sir. Hari Om.
Why to repeat the same? Hari Om.